So if we want a bullish confirmation, we've got to look for something like this. This is the sort of chart we're looking for. We need a higher low and then a continuation upwards, especially with global liquidity breaking out, which I'm going to come to in a second, because we could be in a bear trap. And the move to the upside happens fast for not only Brett, but also Bitcoin and things of that nature as well. So, if we actually carry on moving, focus on compounding the small wins. You don't need to make the Hail Mary straight away. You don't need to have that singular meme coin to make you rich. Meme coins should only be 10% of your portfolio. The rest should be 30 bags. Even then, you should have cash on the sides, preferably like 30%, even though the dollar's going down. So it shows that we are kind of messed up. But there may be rate cuts coming because the EUE, the European Central Banks, the ECB, is cutting rates at the moment. And the MACD actually flipped bullish on Bitcoin, which could be a very, very good thing. But we may see one final shakeout just before we blast off higher, especially with global liquidity going up. So I think if we get a higher low here, or even a lower low, I think it is the last chance to accumulate. Genuinely, I think this is the last chance. I know I did say we were bearish and we are going to be bearish until we break out of this uptrend, but I think with all the things compounding, especially with global liquidity and everybody thinking the market is dead and now everybody's flipping bullish, we will need a shakeout before we go higher. I've seen 127x on a coin, didn't sell, watched it bleed back to break even. That's how pride works. You couldn't tell me anything at the time, it blinds you, then humbles you loud. Make sure you take profits, man. Ski Mask Dog actually looks like it may be getting a Coinbase listing. I don't know for sure, it's just the way they phrased it. And Ski Mask Dog is actually down on the day. What would be a very, very good region to buy Ski Mask Dog? Around about this region. So this would be the higher end today's price. I'd say about 3 cents. We are, I think, a little bit expensive currently. About 2 cents. 2 cents would be safe. About half the price we are at today. Because look what a Coinbase listing this week. Coin 50. Look, there's a ski. 65k. Here we come for BTC. Don't rule anything out at the moment, man. You can't have all your eggs in one basket. Soon we are going to fly, but how soon? It's crazy, bruh. Especially with gold having like a record amount of inflows. 8 billion. Historically, record breaking inflows often mark the top. If that happens, Bitcoin will be the next to rally. So we need to be exposed to Bitcoin. One more scare before May blast off is how I see it. I believe so too. We need to come closer to this. I think we'll bounce off it. Either go slightly lower or bounce off it and go. When total 3 breaks above the March 2024 levels, we take off. We just need to see some more momentum because we have got some key events this week. S&P Global Services Manufacturing PMI data, new home sales data, March durable goods data, March existing home sales data, total of 8 Fed speakers events, 20% of S&P 500 companies report earnings. That's mad. That could actually tank, make or break the market. I think the Fed will cut rates and alt season will start.
To see energy go. Meantime, guess what? Interest rates are down for the last 3-4 days at good levels. I mean, you know, when you add interest rates, you're talking about it's gone down. I've been saying, let's get interest rates down. You know, nobody ever gets rich when the interest rates are high.
That's facts.
Because people can't borrow money. Interest rates are going down. You know what else is going down? What have I been trying to get down?
Oil.
Energy. Energy's going down. I'd love to see energy go down. You know, energy is really what caused it. They screwed up my energy. I had the most energy, and they screwed it up. Then they went back to it. It was going through the roof. They went back to some drilling, but it was gone. It was hopeless. It was lost. But energy's gone down, and interest rates have gone up over the.
A lot of people might become rich under his presidency. You know, I think he's lining it up that way. Because Ethereum is at the bottom of an accumulation zone. Stochastic RSI screaming reversal. Missing this setup could be the biggest mistake of 2025. I've got a leveraged bet on Ethereum, which is Omikami. And I don't even think it's a leverage bet. I think Omikami performs in this bull market with or without Ethereum. I know Ethereum is a major factor, but it's got such a huge use case. So let's say there's only certain altcoins that will perform. I believe Omikami will definitely be one of them. And I remain bullish. Not a single top indicator has flashed. I remain bullish. The elites do not make money on alt season. They haven't made their money yet. And they always do every cycle. They just demolished you so you can stop believing. But from May they will go all in. The guy can't speak English, but he gets stuff right, let's be real. Alts from here will make you rich. They are boring, ugly and awful, but they will make you rich. Everyone has quit. Now is your time. Bitcoin broke the downtrend. Tariffs were overhyped and most people already forgot. Markets will pump this month. Hold on tight. I think it's coming, you know. I think it's looming closer. The people who have generally won in this market are speaking bullish, but everybody else think it's all over, which is a perfect sentiment for things to rally higher. Because if you look at Bitcoin overall, forget the daily. I know we've been seeing some blood in the streets. If we actually go to the weekly, this is a bull market. We are still pumping. This ain't going anywhere yet. A hard invalidation for me would be below 49k. If we break 49k, then we're cooked. Don't get me wrong, but how much further are we going to go down? That is the grey area that nobody knows. If we knew that, we'd all be rich. And I was looking at some cryptocurrencies today, and I was scrolling down and I seen Casper at 45. Now, we have talked about Casper on the channel before, and I do believe it is a great cryptocurrency. And look at it correcting all the gains that it's previously had from the all-time high, coming back to levels which we seen coming on a couple of years ago. So you've got it for that good of a price. If we can see one more low, please Casper, give me another low, and then I will be very happy. Because I will be accumulating more. I already flipped some for profit the other day because I don't know where this market is going. But if Casper can give me a confirmation, this is basically similar to Bitcoin, and it is the next Bitcoin. You need to do your due diligence, but it's decentralized. You can do what Ethereum can do. It's cheap as Solana. If they can make things right with smart contract, it's going to explode. And it's the first bull market for Casper. Look at what happened to ADA when it got smart contracts. Look at Ethereum. It exploded. And if it gets a Coinbase listing, it'll be even better. Another thing I was looking at was Peanut the Squirrel. So this is an example of many meme coins. However, meme coins look dead and nobody have any belief due to the tariff news and the uncertainty. But if you were to take a bet on anything right now, now would be a good time. They've absolutely bled out. It's only the diamond hands that are left. Everybody wanted this up here at $1.59, but nobody wants it at 13 cents. Nobody wants Brett at 300 million market cap. Nobody wants it now. Nobody wants it now that it's bled out. You need to get the correct coins, don't get me wrong, because a majority won't pump. Everybody wanted Aero at $2. But now at 40 cents, when it's tanked, when the chart looks horrific, nobody wants it anymore. And Aerodrome is a liquidity pool for base. I'm very bullish on this. Imagine if it gets even more exchange listings that it's already got. It's already got solid exchanges. Crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Another thing I've been looking at is the degen trading. But you know, you might get tricked by a lot of these influencers into thinking this is the way, but I don't think it is. I think the long-term conviction holds are better. Because although a lot of people made money off this wizard, it is going to tank, it is risky, and how many plays do they have to go through to find wizard? How many are rug pulls? How many are like this chart here, which were trending and now it's absolutely tanked, erased all the gains? You have to be very careful, and this is the trenches. These are the trending coins, and the majority lose, so be careful, especially if you want to gamble, because this is a casino, especially if you don't know how to work charts. Because if you want to work this chart here, you've got to look at trend lines, and you've got to know how the trend line works. And if it breaks this trend line, you've got to have a proper strategy basically. So if it breaks this here, you have to be out. But if you're out, because these charts are so quick and there's such low liquidity, somebody could dump all the way to zero very quickly. It's risky. aside from that, I think that's all I have to say. And it's almost time.